Welcome to the Phoenix 76 Tech Talk. My name is John, and I'm going to be chatting with my friend Rosario today about the importance of personal branding. So, before we get into it, Rosario, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Tell us what it is you do within technology.
Thank you, John. My name is Rosario. I'm a senior manager at a healthcare industry, uh, insurance company. I've been working in the IT industry for a very long time. I started as a developer, then I migrated to the management position. So I lead a team of about 18 or 20 developers that they do reporting and analytics for the organization.
Nice. So, leading a team, start out as a developer. And before we get into the personal branding questions that I have for you today, just tell us real quick, briefly, how you actually got into the technology industry.
Uh, I just got it. This is not my plan. I never started, never thought for a moment I wanted to be in IT. So the way it started, I started as an accountant, and then I have a master's degree in public affairs. So I thought for a long time I'm going to be working, I'm going to be a public servant. Then along the way, I met some individuals who are working in IT, and I was um, I was mesmerized by the field, and I fell into it. So there is no strict journey. There is not a plan. It's just sometimes you just fall into it, and that's pretty what happened. And so what I started doing, I started taking some classes, learning basic SQL, just enough for me to understand what technology is about, and from there, I was able to navigate my way in and learn along the way.
I love it. I love that you shared that. I didn't mention this in the beginning, but I'm actually in the technology industry myself, what's considered technology adjacent. So I'm a diversity, equity, and inclusion professional at a multinational technology and talent services organization. And when I graduated college, at first I thought I was going to be an athlete. I played college football. That didn't happen. I thought I was going to be in sales forever, but I found that for me personally, there was no value in selling a product. I didn't feel like I was actually impacting someone's life. And I always cared about diversity and inclusion, was unsure about technology, but found myself in technology. So I wanted to start the conversation off this way because it's always good to hear the stories that there is no straight journey, like you said, Rosario. There's twists, turns, but hopefully we all have an opportunity, those that would like to end up in the technology industry. So let's jump into the content that I have for you today. I'm curious as we get into it, how would you go about defining personal branding, and why do you believe that it's important for Black professionals in today's competitive landscape within the industry?
Um, it is extremely important. And so the way I really define personal branding in a simplest term is that when you walk into a room and you leave an impression, whether you like it or not, people are going to have an impression of you. And when you leave the room, you wonder what people are saying after you leave the room, what they say about you. So personal branding is the impact you leave on people when you meet them. So in a very simple way, it's just like how people think about it. Not so much about what you think of yourself, what people think about it. That's what matters. So personal branding is your ability to project whatever you want people to think about. And
I
so
love that.
when you think about refining yourself, you have to always start thinking about what exactly I'm projecting. What are people thinking about me? What people are saying about me? And so when you start thinking about personal branding, you have to think of it in the context of a personal interaction, right? Because nowadays you don't meet people on the street, um, at the workplace. So your presence is felt everywhere in social media, um, online, you know, at work, personal interaction you have with your friends and your family. All that make is part of your personal branding. And so when you think about personal branding, is what exactly are you projecting? What exactly you want people to think about? And what are your strengths? What are the qualities that you want people to think about when they meet you? And it's extremely important. And that is defined the way you talk, the way you speak, the way you dress, the way you comport yourself, and the thing you say. So all that makes part of your personal branding.
Wow, you dropped a lot there. Impact, strengths, values. what people say about you when you're not in the room. That was a lot, but I appreciate it. I'm sure that the listeners will appreciate it as well. Why don't you tell us a story? Can you share your journey of discovering and really honing in on your personal brand?
Um, this is funny as that question. Thank you, John. And this is something that I struggled with for a while. So here's a story. So I used to work for a company, and every time I meet um, um, my colleagues and peers, they always have a problem with me. And for some reason, I could not understand it. So I left the company. I went to work for another company. And the same group of people used to have the same attitude about me. And for some reason, they did not like me. And in one instance, I remember, and there was a colleague that I barely knew. You know, we only spoke over the phone and we exchanged a few emails. But the last time I met her, and she had an attitude about me, and I was like, no, it can't be them. It has to be me. What impression I'm leaving behind? So I went back and I started looking at all the interaction I had with that person. And I started reading the emails exchange that we had. And I discovered it wasn't about me, it's the way I was communicating with her. And
Mhm.
little things as salute, you know, and the way I conveyed the message. And it was coming across as if I was ordering her. And just reading my own text message, I was offended. So I became aware how important communication is. And so that was the brand I was leaving behind. So at the beginning, I was looking outward. I was looking at them thinking they were the problem. And I came to discover I was the problem. And from that point forward, I started focusing about my email. So if I'm sending an email out, I would take about 20 minutes to send one paragraph. And I would read it and I would put it in a context. I also put myself within the recipient of the message to see how that person would feel based on what I'm saying. That's a journey of personal branding. It may be simple, but it made a big difference in my life, in my career, because now I became personable. I became relatable. And so from that point forward, I can see how people were reacting toward me. And the issues that I had before never happened again. So personal branding impact the way people act towards you. It impacts the way people speak to you. It impacts your professional growth. It also impacts your personal relationship with other people. Because up to that point, I was not aware that the way I was speaking was affecting people's behavior toward me. So in a very
Wow.
simple way, you know, it's one simple example, but yet it does make a difference.
Thank you for sharing. That's powerful. So, what I heard was self discovery. There was some self discovery. There were some, you had to become more aware. In many cases, whether it's your story or a story like that, we might have to seek feedback and be willing to apply that feedback so that we can manage perceptions as well. There's a lot that goes into that. There's simple steps, but I won't say it's easy. I'll say it's simple because there's a framework. If you do self discovery, you seek feedback, you can make the adjustments so that the Rosario that you want to be in the room when you're not in there is actually the Rosario that shows up. So we have to participate in our own rescue. I love that. We don't have too much more time, and you already shared powerful nuggets in this conversation. But if anyone is looking to refine their brand or start from scratch, because maybe this is something that they never thought of, are there any strategies or anything that maybe we didn't mention here today that you would recommend for folks that are just starting out on their personal brand journey?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's a great question, John. So one of the things I would mention is you have to start with the thought. First is awareness. You don't have all the questions. You don't have all the answers. And second, it's not what you think about yourself, it's what people think about you. So ask for feedback. Always take the time to ask for feedback. So I do that all the time. When I ask people, how do you see me? What do you think about me? So if you don't ask for feedback, people will not offer it. So you have to be actively engaged in understand and be aware of what people think about you, and start from that point forward. Once you become aware, there's something you can do about it. But if you don't know, you don't know. And that would be the first thing. Second thing is like think about your strength. What exactly I'm strong? What is my talent? What am I projecting? So what do I want people to think about me, to remember about me? So start from there. Express your talent. Have a value proposition and say, this is what I bring to the table. And every time you speak, make sure you bring attention to your talent. And so communicate effectively. And that's the other thing too. So it's not that complicated. I mean, it is. There's a lot of work that comes into it, but there is a strategy that you have to follow. Self awareness, ask for feedback, focus on your strength and talent, and understand the audience that you're speaking with, because you may be acting one way versus one audience, but it may require uh, um, a different approach depending on the audience. So you have to know all of that and be able to apply it. Be flexible and be receptive, because people will offer you advice, but if you don't take it, it's not going anywhere.
Amazing. I think we can close there. I got chills. I got goosebumps. You gave some powerful nuggets today, Rosario. So definitely appreciate you and appreciate everyone watching.
Thank you. Thank you, John.